Alrighty, it's been a while since I've had a formal update on the 242 here. I pulled it in the garage last night and finished up messing around with this parts washer thing that I made. Didn't find the brush for it yet, but anyway, came out today after lunch and started working on the car here. The main goal was to get the wiring that was in the bumper out of it for the temporary fan switch, 12-volt hookup, and the starter switch to start the car since the ignition cylinder took a dump. But got everything mounted and wires removed. There were some annoying ground wires here. They look terrible. Well, don't mind the rat's nest of wiring. I'm gonna go through all of this at some point once I have the other car running and it can do this one properly. But fan relay has been hooked up, and that's over here, coming over here, and then there's only one wire running in the car for that. When it's switched, it grounds the switch and turns the fan on. But I like having a mechanical fan switch. That way I can let the car warm up in the morning and then kick it on. I can kind of control things a little better. And I don't like it when the relays fail, the temperature ones. So, I guess since the last update, the car has been lowered a lot. You can see against my other videos of the car here, the rear springs, I don't even know how many coils were cut out. It was a lot. It sits though, it's perfect. The front I think is like 2.5 coils, and the rear is something like 3.5. It's a lot of coils cut. You can see it's tucking the wheel up in there. It's just where I want it to sit. And then other things since the other videos, the last one was the exhaust getting finished. Since then I did put power steering back on the car because it's just so much more pleasant to drive. I don't have a manual rack, so doing the whole power steering rack without a pump, power steering pump, the gearing is terrible and it's not fun to drive. But since the pump went in here, I got the one with the reservoir on the pump, and I had to redo my intercooler piping a little bit. I still have to get a nipple welded on this charge pipe, intercooler pipe, for an idle air control motor, a stepper motor, just so you can make it idle nice and smooth. And I prefer to have an IAC on the car. But a bunch of wires have been run in for power, and then the power panel that I made has been mounted. We'll get good old flashy here. There we go. Don't mind my dirty floor mats. It's hard to keep these things clean in the wintertime. There's the LH 2.4 ECU and EZK. I haven't really mounted them. It's not going to stay in the car too long. This car is going to get Megasquirt 3 with the MS3 Extra card. I do want to do sequential fuel injection on this, but here is the panel mounted up in there. That has a 12-volt feed coming into it from the battery, and then there's a trigger wire off the old existing car fuse panel that when keys on, 12 volts comes over, grounds in the relay, and clicks the switch over to complete the 12-volt circuit to the little fuse distribution blocks. And then I started wiring stuff. I didn't put up all my other panels and start tucking wires yet. I have some other things I want to add, like my gauges and whatnot. So the wiring is it's gonna have to come back down anyway to run wires. And then this car was a K-Jet car, and I swapped it to the LH system, as you see here. I'm going to do an in-depth video of that with how to do it, and how to wire in like the new fuel pressure relay, or fuel pump relay. And there's like 5 wires you have to hook up. 12-volt constant to ECU, switch 12 volts for ECU. Heated O2 wire I think I hooked up. The blue wire goes out to your coil to give 12 volts to the coil. And oh, there was another one. Oh, the wire to trip the fuel pumps. You come out from the relay, this relay, and you go into the old existing wiring that's in the car. It's just a male spade into the female spade connector that's in the car. And that triggers your fuel pumps to turn on. So that's how that's currently wired up. But this red one here, this is going to be for line lock. I have the switch for the line lock right here, red one. And like the yellow wire, that's my 12 volt tripped wire from my old fuse panel to the new one here. Black, this is for the electric fan. Purple is power for the starter switch. So I'll show you that. And I'll start the car for you. All the stuff here in the way. And squeaky door. So, the only things that are working on the instrument cluster because of the swap from K-Jet to LH 2.4 is the temperature gauge and the fuel level gauge. And that's because the old car, this was originally a 4-speed car, it had a mechanical gear-driven speedometer, and LH 2.4 doesn't use that. It uses a speed sensor in the rear. But I just haven't gotten around to changing the rear yet. I kind of want to put a locking center in it first. And the tach doesn't work. I mean, I guess I could wire up the tach, but I think I'm going to get an external tach and hook up. So, all you do here, I rigged up, this is pretty neat, I like it. This, oh, let's turn on the light. This used to be AC control, and my dad thought it was a pretty cool idea, and I liked it. He drilled out the center where the knob was, and he put this momentary switch in, and this is what connects 12 volts to the starter. And then this is for line lock, this is headlights, and I repurposed the fog lights, since I don't have the fog lights, for the electric fan, so you can hear that. That kicks on. And then the starter switch just works key on position, and then just pushing the switch. It's so much nicer having everything in the car like it's supposed to be. But anyway, there's an update. I still have a bunch of stuff I want to do. These gauges, I'm going to switch out from the old style gauges to a newer electric gauge set. I don't like having oil pressure in bar. I'd rather have a more precise numerical scale on it, something that's a little easier to read. It's kind of vague when the needle's somewhere between 2 and 3, but you don't really know. And same thing with the voltmeter. And I'm gonna, instead of using the sweeping scale style temperature gauge, I'm gonna have another one put in. Probably, I'm not using this boost gauge that's existing in the car. I'll probably pull that gauge out and put the temperature there, so I'll have temperature oil and volts. And then I'm going to do something about mounting an external tack. I'm not sure where exactly I want to put it yet. I have to kind of see. I think I'm going to get like the 3 1/8 or whatever it is inch tack. But I want to get one that fits the car. And I don't know about this pillar pod. It doesn't really fit well. It bothers me. It's kind of cheesy, but I like being able to see my wideband and boost gauge right there in my peripheral vision. But there it is as it sits. And I will take some more video once I have something new.